And welcome back to the channel, everyone. I hope you're all having a great day. Please leave a like, comment down below what you thought of today's video, and don't forget to subscribe. So as you guys can probably tell by the video, we are doing another 5-year realistic rebuild, and this time we're going to be doing the Pittsburgh Steelers. I haven't done one of these rebuilds now in a few months. I've actually only done one other one on the channel here in Madden 23. And that was the Jacksonville Jaguars when we went on and won the Super Bowl in year 1, and then we didn't do anything afterwards. So I actually don't kind of remember how I set these videos up, so right here, right now, I'm kind of winging it. But let's get to know this Pittsburgh team. You know, I'm going to be starting at the beginning of franchise mode, not throughout, you know, not after the Super Bowl. So we'll have a whole new Super Bowl team. These are 5-year realistic rebuilds, so this is what I think the Pittsburgh Steelers should do. So let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. First of all, they got a rookie quarterback here in Kenny Pickett. You know, 24 years old, only quarterback drafted in the first round. Very excited for Kenny. You know, doesn't have the biggest arm, but he has solid short accuracy. And I think that Kenny, as an overall prospect as a quarterback, can produce. And I think in the NFL, I think he can be a suitable, solid starting quarterback. So in this rebuild, I'm gonna kind of sit back and assume for the next 5 years we have quarterback checked off. You know, I'm happy about that, but you know, we still have a lot of ways to go. You know, as you guys can see, the offensive line is not the best. We have 2-star dev players in Dotson and Daniels, but we still have a lot of other holes on this team. You know, I think we could use another wide receiver, even though Johnson and Pickens are two very good dynamic receivers that I also really like. Offensively, the Steelers do have a lot of work to do, especially on the offensive line. But when you have, you know, 2 superstar dev offensive weapons and a couple star development players, there's a lot of work you can do. Now, when you throw it over to the defensive side of the ball, this is where the Pittsburgh Steelers have reigns to being throughout their entire league franchise. They have a great defense. Let's be honest here. You have Micah Fitzpatrick, Casey Hayward, TJ Watt, you know, Highsmith. You have so many players on this defense that you can continuously build around. And in reality, there's not a lot of work to do on this defense. It's just making sure we continue to add in young talent and add and move off of veterans when it's really necessary. Now, I guess the only positional group that you could really improve on is at corner, but in reality, there's not too much work we have to do on this defense. I think this Steeler team is good in terms of just with all the development traits on the roster. Though we gotta get some work going here with this team, and we'll see how the first year goes with us. We will be using all auto drafted or generated draft classes, so nothing like that. But this is what I think the Pittsburgh Steelers should do. So let's go through the first half of this season and see where we are. So halfway through this season, here in year 1, we are sitting 4-3. Second place in this division. Cincinnati looks like they are gonna they have a game and a half above us, sitting at 5-2. You know, there's still some work to do, you know, here in year 1. I'm not going to make any trades here in year 1. We're not going to do anything like that. Nothing unless I feel like it's necessary. But even though we're here at the trade deadline, nothing that we need to do. Let's quickly just look at the stats before we talk about negotiation and stuff. So halfway through the season, you know, Kenny Pickett, 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Okay years to start off so far. Harris so far, 700 yards, 7 touchdowns. Very impressed so far with him. Just keep giving him the football, and hopefully he can continue to go to work. Now, the passing game will not look great. George Pickens here, 400 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. Dante Johnson here, 372 and no touchdowns. Pat Furman here, 6 touchdowns. He's been the favorite target, looks like, in terms of receiving options. So, you know, if it's the receiving core, who knows? Maybe it's the playbook. I don't really know the best playbooks in Madden, to be honest with you guys, in terms of simulating. Offensive line, you know, a little work to do here, but actually the offensive line has been playing better than I really expected halfway through the season. And then defensively, Alex Highsmith here, 5.5 sacks. Casey Hayworth, 5. TJ Watt with only 2.5. That's a surprise. And then a couple interceptions. So halfway through the year, looks like we're, you know, a very much of a below average offense in terms of yardage and an average defense. So got some work to do here in the first season, but hey, it's the first year, we got some wiggle room. But let's talk about negotiation and contracts here. We have $60 million to work with. And, you know, we have William Jackson Hale, Terrell Edmonds, Devin Bush here. And we got a couple important players to consider here and a couple, you know, backups to work with. But I think the first contract that we got to really work on here is Devin Bush here. You know, a 3-year, $13 million contract. Absolutely. We're going to bump this up. I'm just going to give him a 5-year, $25 million deal. He accepts, so that's happy to have Devin Bush back. He's young, he's fast, always like that. And then for Terrell Edmonds, safety is a position where, you know, there's always an opportunity to get development traits, and Terrell Edmonds is 25 years old. Okay, years are good. We're just gonna increase the money a little bit. You know, I'm not gonna bend backwards. You know, he's still a player that's a strong safety we can replace. William Jackson we'll think about later. Corner, yeah. I think for now we'll sim to the next week, or we'll sim to the end of the season and see what we have, because I don't think we're gonna really bring back any of these other players. Maybe Derek Watt, but yeah, let's sim to the end of the year and let's go see where we stand. Maybe we make the postseason. We have a chance to. Cleveland, this is such a tight division right now as I'm looking at it again, so we'll see. And here at the end of season 1, we really kind of had a collapse here. We went 7-10. We finished the year 7-10, third place in the AFC North, and that's not really good. You know, we were 4-3 halfway through the year, and we only won 3 more games for the rest of the season. That is not good if you're really thinking about it. It looks like we did beat Cleveland at the end of the season. Let's check out some season stats here. You know, we're hoping that Kenny Pickett could potentially win Offensive Rookie of the Year, because if he does with those 25 touchdowns, as a couple upgrades, we'll do them really quickly. Because if he does, he can go up to star dev, and that would really help him out. And, you know, I really kind of want this rebuild to be about Kenny Pickett to see in 5 years where he can be at. And, you know, his ratings are solid with those 2 field general upgrades, but 25 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 4,000 passing yards. Solid rookie year. You know, I wouldn't complain if that was my quarterback. Najee Harris, 1,500 yards, 21 touchdowns. We ran the football a ton, and I'm happy with that production. Just got to see these receivers. Adante Johnson really picked up in the second half of the year. 1,000 yards, 2 touchdowns. Need some more scores. George Pickett's almost 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns. Pat with 6 touchdowns and 700 yards. We need a third receiver, but happy with the top 3 guys. In terms of the offensive line, well, tackle is a major question mark. Definitely. But Dan Moore's second year, you know, don't really have to replace him. But tackle is definitely something that is concerning. Miles Jack led us in tackles with 112. Tackles for loss, Casey Cameron Hayworth here with 18, and he had 10 sacks, who led the team. Disappointing year for TJ Watt, but maybe it's the 3-4 defense here. I have no idea. Again, I probably should really look into this. Wallace here led us in interceptions with 3. So overall happy with the production, even though we went 7-10. You know, first year is could be like a mulligan type of year. 17th ranked offense here and the 12th ranked defense. So below average offense, above average defense. Still got we got some work to do. George Burrow, MVP, Coach of the Year, Doug Peterson, makes sense to me. Derrick Henry, Offensive Player of the Year. Joey Bosa, Defensive Player of the Year. You know, Derek Stingley, Defensive Rookie of the Year. Do we have any Steelers? That's what we're looking for here. And no. So year 1 is in the books. We did not do well. It's actually the first year that Mike Tomlinson did not have above 500 record. So that's a problem. But hey, now we get to work on this roster and hopefully we can make some big moves to help out this Pittsburgh team. So here in the Super Bowl week, it looks like somehow the Carolina Panthers made it to the Super Bowl. So congratulations to the Carolina Panthers. Again, this is, you know, whatever happens, happens here. Unfortunately, that Kenny Pickett did not win Offensive Rookie of the Year, and Carolina absolutely destroyed KC. What just happened here in franchise mode? Congratulations to Sam Darnold as the MVP. Moving on. I mean, I have no idea how he just did that. But we have a lot of work to do entering into this first off season for us. Hopefully we're able to bring in some talent and really help this team out. Checking out some retirements here. So we have two players, Cameron Hayworth and Jason Olulu, both defensive ends, defensive tackles. They both retired for us. So those are actually really big retirements, and that puts now a lot more pressure in terms of fixing this interior, this defensive line. When we look at that, you know, we got a lot of work to do in terms of that, at least. But this defensive line needs some players here, needs a little help. But we have to re-sign some players here. Let some players go. You know, let's go re-sign. 24 pending free agents here, $83 million. Terrell Edmunds is still a player I would like to bring back. And, you know, 3 years, $15 million. Now this is the offer that I gave him last time. But let's give him the fair offer here. Let's see. He would like to play for a new team next year. Okay, that's fine. Franchise tag would be $11 million. Maybe we will consider it. We have a lot of cap space. William Jackson here and Cameron Sutton here. We should bring one of these guys back. I think we're going to bring back Sutton, though. He's 28 years old. Trying to bring him back. We don't really have too much depth here at corner. So 1 year, 5-year deal. And Sutton is back here. And for the rest of these pending free agents, Chris, we won't bring back. Same with Larry. Carl Joseph, no. A lot of these guys are the bottom half of this roster that we really don't need on this team. And they're just depth players. We can move off of them. And I guess just because we have the cap space and I would like to keep Terrell Edmunds, you know, he could be a player we trade away, we'll franchise tag him. So we'll enter this offseason with $67 million. We might make a couple cuts here and, you know, maybe cutting Mitchell Trubisky. I'll go through the roster here very quickly and see who will cut. So yes, we will be cutting Mitchell Trubisky here. We're going to be saving about $6 million. So before we check out free agency, let's just quickly look at this roster. If we're going to really sit back and say we're going to go with Kenny Pickett at quarterback, the only thing we need to do is figure out who's going to be his backup. And so quarterback's kind of checked off. We need a number 2 running back, as actually Najee Harris went up to superstar development. Just going to point that out very quickly. But we need a 3rd wide receiver. Some depth across, really just depth across this team. But I would sit here and say tackle is one of them. You know, Dan Moore here, he's a 2nd-year tackle, or 3rd-year tackle, excuse me. So maybe we'll stick with Moore for maybe one more season. But at right tackle, I would like to at least improve over him. We just can't move off of his contract just yet. But in terms of the offensive line, I would say tackle and center would be 2. And then defensively, you know, corner is one of them. All 3 corners on our current roster are all on there last year, so that's probably something we would address in the draft. And then across this interior, this defensive line, helping out this run stopping, because in case Cameron Hayworth retiring, that's something that we have to figure out. And Terrell Edmunds, you know, he's basically kind of right now a stopgap type of player for us. So we'll either keep him, we'll either trade him away if necessary. But for right now, he's a solid starter. Don't need to force an issue. We still have a ton of needs on this team. As we're going to take a quick look at the first free agency period, we have $75 million, almost $76 million. We're led by Tony Pollard here. 88 overall. You got Josh Allen out there, Odell Beckham Jr., Jamal Dean, James Bradbury, Evan Ingram, Tom Brady's out here, Michael Thomas. Wow, there's a lot of solid players. So let's first start here at corner, because corner is the first positional group that's really kind of important. Jamal Dean would be right now my favorite target to go after. I just think that he's between age and overall standpoint, 26 years old. I definitely think bringing in a guy like a Jamal Dean would really help out our secondary and improve this defense even further. 5 years, $70 million. Maybe Jamal will come in here and be our new #1 corner. If we're looking for an upgrade at safety, Taylor Rapp, Julian Love, no. Devin McCourty, I just don't see a safety to really improve. You know, a lot of these guys would be depth. In terms of other important needs would be in across the defensive line. And, you know, Keem Hicks, he wouldn't be a bad option. Same with Romeo Quara. Puma Ford, you know, in terms of a 3-4 defense, he would be interesting. Same with Morgan Fox. But I'm just not seeing too many players. Javion Clowney, again, these are not great players to come in here and really help out this interior, this defensive line. Let's look at tackle real quick. Well, we got Rob out here, who would be an upgrade. Trell Steele, yet again. Jamal Taylor, again, I just don't see it. Let's see center real quick. Same thing, you know, not too many good offensive linemen. I mean, we could move players around, like bring in Nate Davis. I don't know if we should bring in someone to, how much money we should be spending. You know, we have important players to keep on the current roster. I'm not seeing a wide receiver. I think wide receiver will address in the draft. Same with corner again, because I would like to draft a corner still. Quarterback, not going to look to do anything. So maybe what we'll do is with the other negotiations, I'll just find 4 players just for quality depth just to offer to real quick. Okay, so I went through the players, and I think we're going to just try to go after a couple defensive players. You know, we got Jamal Dean, our big free agent target, Puna Ford, and Flora Flasquez, the 2 defensive linemen to really help out then the interior of our rush. Let's evaluate this period here and see what we can get. And we got Jamal Dean as well. We got Pashir. I cannot pronounce his name. No idea how to. But we helped out the interior of this defensive line. We got a #1 corner. Very important here. Puna Ford is the last player. Still have about $50 million, but I just don't see free agents to go after right now. And I don't want to really go out there and sign a bunch of veterans. We don't need to do that with this team. We need to continue to build through the draft, and hopefully that will help our team the most here. Now, one thing that I have really not done is look at this up-and-coming free agent, or this up-and-coming draft class here. So let's quickly go through them, and of course, wide receiver is one of them. There's a couple, looks like there's a couple big-bodied receivers here. A little bit of a different type. So let's see. So we got Larry Pearson here. I see a couple A grades here. So I see A catch traffic, A deep, route running, A release. So what about Larry? He has great speed. Yeah, he has really good speed. So Larry, he's definitely, with all those A grades, I'm looking for A's, at least when I'm doing this type of style of a rebuild. You know, but Larry, he might be a sleeper here to be our 3rd receiver. So we'll put him on the board. Let's quickly check out corner. I'll go through more of these players very quickly. Let's see Tracy Johnson here. A to C zone coverage. He's a zone corner, so that's probably more this C for man. B zone. He has good speed, so that's solid. First round talent, you know, 22 years old. So let's put Johnson on the board too. Again, we're gonna kind of go BPA with these draft classes. I don't even know our draft picks, no idea. So we'll see. Not looking at quarterback, even though the game wants me to draft a quarterback. Not gonna do that. But hopefully we'll just get to this draft class and see what we can do. So before we entered into this draft here, what do we need to target? We had the 13th overall pick. So we could look at offensive line help. We could look at wide receiver, and then everything else. And then, so either center, tackle, and 3rd receiver. You know, we got the 2 band-aids across the defensive line. Still could use more D-line help. So defensive line, we brought in Jamal Dean. Could still use another corner if we want to force the issue at safety. But overall wise, you know, defensive line, offensive line help, a wide receiver maybe. I don't know how much needs we're going to be able to hit here in this draft class, but hey, what we're going to go out there and do is probably try to address the defensive line or the corner situation, and then we'll see what we can do for this rest of this draft. Here we go. We are not on the clock. We're starting the draft here. We have the 13th overall pick. We'll just sim to our draft pick. I'm not looking to trade up. Again, I'm not gonna, at least here in this first year, not really. We're just kind of trying to take the best players available here. So, no, we could draft a quarterback, absolutely, here at 13. There's a couple here already that just intrigue me already, but I just don't want to go in that direction just yet. I think we give Kenny Pickett an opportunity, and that's something. So let's go through some of these players. So we got James Cox here. Excellent left tackle here, who probably could play right tackle for us. He has A, awareness, B, pass and run blocking. He has great strength. So James Cox here would be, to help out the tackle situation, he would be top of our board right now. So we got to consider him. So when looking through all these receivers here, I think if somehow we can get Larry Pearson here, who's 6'4" out of Florida, I think Larry would be my guy that if I could draft in the 2nd round, I would absolutely love. So not here at 13, but he's definitely a consideration. So Larry is definitely someone that I would like to draft. But for right now, we'll hold off a wide receiver. In terms of the rest of the offensive linemen that we could go after, you know, we got Casey Lewis here, center. Again, do we want to use our first pick on an offensive lineman? I would almost rather go the tackle, but Lewis here would be a solid addition. Now, something else we could consider here is a defensive tackle. Jerry Davis here, he could probably move over to an end spot if necessary, but B finesse, B power moves, you know, he's probably has solid block shedding, solid tackling as well, but he's fast, he has great strength. So I think Davis is definitely, so right now I would sit here and say we have a tackle, a defensive tackle, or a tackle that we should be considering here. And this is already such a difficult selection. So here with our first pick, it's between Davis here at defensive tackle and James Cox here. I think both will be excellent prospects and both players will be great for whatever team, but I think we're gonna go with Davis here. Help out the interior of our defense even further, get a pass rusher in the interior. He's 23 years old out of Oregon. Let's put in the card here, and normal dev, that is tough. That's a tough pill to swallow here. Was really hoping for a depth trait, but 93 strength, 78 speed. Hopefully Davis has good power and finesse rushing moves. So we're here in the 2nd round. Our wide receiver, Larry's off the board, so can't address wide receiver. I mean, we could draft one of these other guys. Steven Davenport here, he would be an interesting playmaker. But I saw on the available board, James Cox is still there, and I would love to have him on this team. So we're gonna go with James Cox here. We're gonna help out the offensive line. He's 21 years old. Let's put in the card here. Also comes out with normal depth, but he has 90 strength. I think he's gonna help out at right tackle, and hopefully he has a good overall, because we need one of these 2 players with normal depth to be good. So here in the 3rd round, we're gonna be taking a wide receiver here. Gabe Everett here, 22 years old. He's a playmaker. You know, he's a raw talent here, but he has some of the best speed. He has elite speed. So I want to get some speed as our 3rd receiver. So Gabe Everett is the pick here, 97 speed. Again, I can only draft normal dev players. And I don't remember in the Jacksonville 5-year rebuild if I only did the first 2 picks and I simulated to the end. But for here, I'm gonna sim to the end. I just don't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, we have we drafted 3 normal dev players, so hopefully in the back half of this draft class, we're able to get something here with hidden development. You know, let's check out this draft recap. You know, overall is the only thing that matters right now with the top 3 picks. So we actually did good. You know, Jerry Davis here, 73 overall. He has actually very good power moves, 77 power moves, 67 finesse moves. So from a pass rushing standpoint, Jerry should be able to produce for our defense. I actually really like this pick after seeing the ratings. So happy with him. And James Cox here, you know, a little bit, you know, actually the ratings are all in a good spot. Run block finesse is the only rating that's not a 70. So actually happy with our top 2 picks here, helping out across the defense and offensive line. Gabe Everett here, 69 overall, nice. Route running needs some work, but from an athletic standpoint, he should be able to make some plays for our offense. Hopefully give Kenny Pickett some opportunities. And the CPU drafted us a safety here, 68 overall, normal dev. Tight end, Ware here, who's just a blocker. And then finally here in the 7th round, they drafted Dean Bishop. So overall, solid draft class. I'll rate it probably like a C, C+, maybe to a B, just because these 2 are 70s overall. There was probably other players in this draft class that we could have drafted, but hey, solid draft class. Year 1 in the books. Let's get into year 2. So as we are entering into year 2 right now, this is the current state of the roster. Kenny Pickett is still our quarterback. We still have Harris, Johnson, Pickett. We have our 2nd round pick, James Cox at right tackle. Not too much change right now across this offense. So hopefully here in year 2, especially for Kenny, he can take now the next necessary step. This is the look of the defense. We put in some veterans to help out the interior of this defensive line. We drafted James Davis to help out the defensive line even further. But hey, this team didn't have too much change entering into year 2. We really only brought in a number 1 corner. We drafted a couple players to help out the 2 lines. So really, what can year 2 provide for us? It's kind of an important year here. Because we only have 5 years to try to win a Super Bowl. So, and if this is the second team I'm doing, so hopefully we won't not win a Super Bowl. So hopefully here in year 2, we can make some very good progress. So halfway through year 2, again, we have 4 victories. We're sitting actually first place of this division in the AFC North at 4-2 right now, but it's a 3-way race right now as the Cleveland Browns are sitting at 1-5, but the Ravens, the Bengals also are basically a half game behind us, and you know, we're looking good. We're winning still, but hopefully we just can't have another second half of the season collapse. So let's go check out these contracts here. Right now we have 12 available players here. We have close to $100 million. Some of these players were depth players that I'll probably end up bringing back. But we have Miles Jack, Alex Highsmith here, Wallace, Terrell Edmonds. We have our top tier guard. Man, we actually have a good amount of players. So right here, right now, we can't work on everyone. Kevin Dotson here, 26 years old. Doesn't want to return, but I would like to keep him for the remaining of this rebuild. So we're going to bump up this contract up here a little bit. So Dotson, you need to do more to convince me, man. He's breaking my balls here. Terrell Edmonds, right now, we're going to hold off for a little bit. Now, this is the question. Do we bring back Alex Highsmith? He has interest in coming back here. Was a 4-year, $54 million type of contract. He did lead us he was second on the team with sacks last year. So maybe we give him this fair offer. Yeah, let's give him this fair offer. Try to keep Alex for the remainder of this rebuild. He does accept. So we have our 2 pass rushers, so we don't have to think about that. This is really the big question, is do we keep Miles Jack or not? If we don't keep Miles Jack, do we just decide to trade him? You know, he's 27 years old, wants, you know, close to $10 million. Doesn't have a ton of interest, but I would like to keep Miles Jack. Let's see if he would be willing to accept it. We'll get close to 10 million. He needs a bigger offer than that. Well, hey, we have a chance to make the postseason. I don't want to move off of one of our better players on the defensive side of the ball. For Wallace right now, we won't do anything yet. Same with Terrell Edmonds. We'll come back to Dotson and Jack, maybe offer them a couple more $1 million, but I'm, you know, right here, right now, if I had it to, I would tag Dotson and, you know, move off of Miles Jack, I guess, just due to I'm not wanting to continue to just improve this offensive line. As we did sim to the next week, we did lose to the New England Patriots, but let's get back to the table here and let's continue working on these two contracts here. Let's start here with Miles Jack, who wants more money than we're already offering him, and this is over $10 million right now, so maybe we give him a little bit more of a bonus. 4 years, this is about 11 million. This is about the max I'm willing to do. So Miles Jack is back. So we've helped out our off-ball linebacker. We don't have to think about him. Then finally, Kevin Dobson here. Does not want to take this. This is less than 10 million. I'm just gonna raise it just a tad bit more. This is really the max I'm willing to do, and Kevin decides to stay. So we got the two pending free agents that I really wanted to get. We have still $65 million to work with. Still a couple players that I would consider bringing back, like Terrell Edmonds, and probably one of these corners we should consider keeping. But for now, let's sim for the rest of the season and see where we end up. So here in year 2, we have made it to the postseason. We have won the AFC North, getting to 10-7 here. Did not have a second half collapse like we did last year. And we'll just do these upgrades real quick. We'll just auto upgrade everyone. But hey, we won the division. We're in the postseason. Very, very happy about that. Let's go check out some stats here before we go through these postseason games. And Kenny Pickett came to play here. Over 4,000 passing yards, 39 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Very impressed with his year 2 campaign. Najee Harris, 1,100 yards, down season, 12 touchdowns. Warden here added 8 touchdowns of his own, so happy with that. George Pickett's led us with the yards with 1,200 yards, 13 touchdowns. Pat, 9-9. Dante Johnson, a little bit of a down year, 800 with 8 touchdowns. Calvin Austin here added 700 yards and 5 touchdowns, so that's really impressive here. Gabe didn't do much as a receiver, but hey, got a lot of receiving options, really helped out. Offensive line, overall actually played solidly. Our 2 tackles did struggle, but hey, they're young. Happy with the offensive line play, actually. Defensively, you know, who led us in tackles for a loss? Alex Highsmith here. And we did not get too much pass rush. TJ Watt led us. The defensive lineman that I can't pronounce his name got 8 sacks. Our first round pick only got 2.5, but he was helpful in the run defense. Happy with that. And then Miles Jack led us in interceptions. So, you know, Wallace got 2. He's a pending free agent, so maybe we keep him just due to that alone. We had the 22nd ranked offense, so not the best offense, but we had a top 10 defense. So that really helped us get to the postseason. Jalen Hurts, MVP, Coach of the Year. Matt Rule somehow is still in the league. And then let's find any Pittsburgh players. No one here on the offensive Rookie of the Year, no one here on the defense. We had Jerry Davis here, got number 4. Quarterback, Kenny Pickett was number 4. So right now we're just hitting at number 4s here. Pickett's here, got 7. And I don't think we're gonna have any other Steelers. So no award winners, but hey, we won the division. Let's go see how far of a run we can make here. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are 1 and done, losing to the New England Patriots 28-21 here. Well, you know what? We made it at least to the dance. Can't complain about that. We still have 3 more years to go through, so hey, let's reload and try to do it again. As we have made it to Super Bowl week, and it is the Minnesota Vikings versus the Buffalo Bills. And I didn't look at this last year, but let's look at it this year as we were the number 2 seed. Actually, how the hell were we the number 2 seed? 10-7. But hey, we were the number 2 seeds. That's impressive. But the Buffalo Bills made it all the way as the number 1 seed, and the number 6 seed, Minnesota Vikings, have made it to the Super Bowl. So interesting Super Bowl here. We'll see who wins it here in just a moment, but we're entering into year 2. We've seen obvious progression for this roster as the Buffalo Bills did win, but now we do have a lot of money to work with. What can we do to really improve this roster? So let's go check out if we have any new development traits, and we do have 2 on the offensive side of the ball. Pat made it to superstar. George Pickett also made it to superstar. So we are improving this roster slowly in-house, so that's very impressive. That's very good here. And Miles Jack made it to X Factor, and no other development traits that I can see right now. So, you know, we're entering into the second off season. What can we do to really improve this team? That's the question. Before we talk about any re-signings, we have Tyrod Taylor, who we brought in just for the mentorship. He retired, and Tom Brady retired. Same with Rodgers. Wow. No one else retired on our team. Von Miller retired. So a lot of big names are retiring right now, but one player on our team who was a backup quarterback. But right now we have 12 players who need new contracts here. $96 million to play with. And who do we want to bring back? Now, Wallace here, he had 3 interceptions, 29 years old. Terrell Edmonds, who has been a starter. Do we let him go? He doesn't want a ton of money. Now we have 3 other corners to consider here. I don't think we're gonna bring back Witherspoon. Puda Ford we might bring back. Same with Sutton, we won't bring. I think it's between both Edmonds and Wallace here. Some of these guys here we will give contracts to, just because they were undrafted free agents that are just quality depth. So I'll do that and later. But let's, you know what? I think we bring back Wallace here. We try to give him this 1-year deal. You know, he's still a solid corner. We wouldn't have to bring in 3 corners. So Wallace resigns, giving him a 1-year, $7 million deal. And then for Terrell Edmonds, 27 years old. If he takes this, I'm happy, and he does. So we'll have our starting safety. We don't have to worry about that, at least. Okay, entering into the second free agency period. What do we need? Still gonna stick with Kenny Pickett. He has not been the problem, I don't think. We could still use a 3rd receiver, and we do have plenty of cap space, so that's something to keep in mind, but we still have players that we need to keep, so we have to keep that also in mind. In terms of the offensive side of the ball, I mean, 3rd receiver, maybe helping out the center position. But other than that, I just don't see too much change that necessarily needs to be made. We flip it over to the defense, maybe another defensive lineman. We need corner. Corner's probably the big one. Maybe we get down in the draft, so maybe a big-time defensive lineman here. We'll see. Let's go check out this free agency period and see who we can bring in. We have the money, so we might as well spend it if we can. Well, Jalen Hurts is out there. Rashawn Gary is out there. Justin Herbert, Trayvon Diggs, Mike Evans. Yeah, there's a fair amount of good players that if we want to bring in here, we could definitely do some damage. Montez Sweat, Grover Stewart. Ooh, I mean, getting a guy like a Grover Stewart or an Ed Oliver would be nice to come in here. So let's check out this free agency. So we're going to be making we're going to go after 4 players. We're going to try to bring in Mike Evans here on a 3-year contract here. Not a ton of money, not a ton of interest here. Evans would be more of a luxury player if we could bring him in here. We're going to go after Grover Stewart to, I think, solidify our defensive line, at least for a few years. Marcus Peters to be our 3rd corner, and Tyler Bassett to fix up this offensive line. So let's evaluate here, see if we have any new Pittsburgh Steelers. We did get Mike Evans, Grover Stewart, and Marcus Peters, and I don't remember who was the other player we were going after. Tyler decided not to come here. He went to Chicago, but hey, We helped out the defense. Grover Stewart can help out in run defense. Mike Evans, I can't believe he accepted that contract. It's a contract that we can get out of pretty easily if necessary. And Marcus Peters for 1 year can be our third corner. So now as I'm going through this team, a lot of our needs are right now just getting some depth players. You know, we have our 3 receivers, so very happy about that. You know, we have our tight end. We have our starting 5 offensive linemen. I mean, we could move off of Mason Cole, but not gonna do that. You know, he's a solid starter. I moved Kendrick Green to center. I'm gonna start him at center. James Cox there at right tackle. And we moved Jerry Davis here to defensive end here. Right now, really what we just kind of need is quality depth. Entering into this draft class though, you could argue getting a corner. You know, both Wallace and Peters here are on 1-year contracts, so getting that solidified would probably be the smart idea here in the first round. We have the 21st overall pick. You know, this is kind of the make it or break it type of year for Kenny Pickett here. You know, I know he's put up solid numbers here, but, you know, he's not the highest overall, and 3 years of him seeing what he can do for the team, I think that's enough time here, and he's 26 years old. He's not going to get any better unless he gets a development trait, so we'll see. We shall see here. Let's get into this draft class and let's go see what we can do to help get some youth to this roster. Now we are in the second draft class here. We have the 21st overall pick. We'll just sim to our pick. I'm not going to be aggressive here. There were corners in this draft class that I liked. We'll see if any of them are still available. I doubt it. And no, they're actually all gone. So corners off the table here, I think, for this first round pick. I think in the second round, we could potentially add someone. So that kind of goes back to this interior, this defensive line. And I know we drafted one in the first round last year, but I think continuously helping out, and Dunton Knight here, he would be probably my favorite target because of his pass rushing moves and his strength and everything. Knight would be a very quality player for this team. Or we could look for an athletic defensive tackle. But I mean, if there is a corner that we could grab, Elmid here, let's see him real quick. 22 years old, good speed. He might actually be a very solid choice here, and that might be a direction we might be forced to take. Unless there's a hybrid safety that we could potentially move to corner. I'm not seeing that. I don't need a wide receiver now because we brought in Mike Evans. So, yeah, I think you know what? I think we could take Winton Knight here. We help more of this defensive line out, hopefully hidden development here, and we get it. 85 strength here, 79 speed, but hidden dev changes everything, and Knight should be able to help out the interior of this defensive line even further. So here in the second round, Elijah Lapid here is the best, I think, defensive back. I think that Lapid here will be a potential future corner. We're gonna take him here in the second round. 91 speed, normal dev. It's really just his coverage abilities. As an athlete, he's solid. It's the coverage that we have to question here. We have one more pick to make here. We've helped out the defense a ton. Continuously adding some players here. Here in the third round, I think we just kind of take the best offensive player out there. You know, there is still a first round graded player, but I just don't think we're gonna go in that direction. In terms of a running back, I don't think we need to add someone. We could look to add another wide receiver or potentially a number 2 tight end here. You know, Tommy here, let's look at Tommy real quick. 22 years old, vertical threat, a lot of A to C ranges. He's the 4th fastest tight end of the class. So Tommy, he's definitely a consideration here. I know Pat just got to superstar development, but it can never hurt to have another good backup tight end. Now, Manny McLean here, he looks interesting as a day 3 prospect. How about any offensive linemen? Not see anyone. I think there was one that I actually put on my board. I actually don't remember if, let me try to find him. Not seeing him actually. So actually, let's go with Manny here. Let's get an athletic, potentially number 2 tight end here. 93 speed, 76 strength here. So we'll finish off my selections here with the tight end, as we're going to be looking at the draft recap here. And Quinton Knight here comes out as a 74 overall. He was our hidden dev defensive lineman, and I think in our scheme he's going to play at end. I think both him and Davis can really provide that youth that we need across the defensive line. Late bit here, 66 overall, probably a bust here. Yeah, he has a lot of ways to go here, but he'll be a quality fourth corner for the defense. And then Manny Knight here, 69 overall, nice. Actually a very solid number 2 tight end. Not the best run blocker, even though I thought he could be, but solid tight end, number 2 for our team. Got a couple depth players across the linebacking core, but they did draft a 67 overall corner here who has solid zone coverage. So hey, you know what? We helped out our defense a lot. 170 overall player, but entering into year 3 now, there's a little bit more of an expectation. We just won the division. We went 1 and done in the postseason. So as we are improving in this team and in this 5-year rebuild, we're hoping now that we can not just win this division, but now win a playoff game or 2. And so I was going through free agency, just bringing in, I just want to bring this note to you guys. So I was just going through free agency just to bring in some UDFA players, you know, just to fill at the bottom half of this roster. And Brandon Ayuk and Jerry Jeudy are both out there. Same with Cam Akers. So what the fuck? I guess we didn't need to bring in Mike Evans, but you know, 2 players out here, or 3 players that are quality starters that are out there. Not gonna sign any of them, but just wanted to point that out to you guys. That, you know what, Madden is sometimes very weird, but hey, you know, we're entering. And the other thing that I wanted to point to you guys out is, you know, as we are entering into year 3, Kenny Pickett had regression here at 26 years old. You know, here's his current ratings. He actually lost some throw power, some medium accuracy, and some short rack accuracy. So is this kind of his last year as a quality starter potentially? I mean, with 85 throw power, I mean, do you really only get 2 good years in Madden with Kenny Pickett? I don't know, but I definitely think that with that regression, sure, we bring in Dalton and Nick Foles, hopefully with those mentor tags to help him, but that's tough when you're 26 years old, 3rd-year quarterback. So this is the team entering into year number 3 here. We brought in Mike Evans to help out this offense, getting a 3rd talented wide receiver. You know, the offensive line have been improving, not done too much to it. You know, we still have 4 out of the 5 starters from year 1. But hopefully here in year 3, our offense can continue to take the necessary steps here. The real question is just Kenny Pickett. You know, he was like a 74 overall, now a 72 overall. Again, that's just tough. Defensively now, you know, we helped out the secondary by bringing in Marcus Peters for a year. We'll see how he'll do. We've helped out this defensive line again, drafted another defensive lineman in the 1st round. Actually, the CPU drafted a hidden dev defensive a pass rusher here, so that's cool. Did not know that. But you know, year 3 now, we won the division in year 2. Higher expectations. I am going to be starting both Davis and Knight as our 2 rush defensive ends. Stewart will be part of the run stopping. And halfway through year number 3, we're 2-5. Last place in this division. This is not good. This is almost forcing. This has to be forcing my hand to do a rebuild within a rebuild here. This is not good, as we'll just do some auto upgrading here. But my goodness, we've gone out there, we've improved this team, we brought in receivers, and what is the problem of this team? Halfway through the year, let's just look at some stats. And maybe it is Kenny Pickett right now. You know, the running game is solid, the receiving core is good. Can we have a second half resurgence? Maybe. But, you know, we don't have time right now for this. We can't, we gotta do something, and I don't know if we sit here and blow up the rest of this roster and try to trade away some of these veterans. You know, I don't know. Do we stay the course here? I'm gonna take a couple minutes to think about it. We do have a player breakout chance. Let's go see what this is all about. This is for Jerry Davis here. Hopefully he can get this. He's trying to go up to star dev. Definitely doable for him. So let's just look at the pending free agents here. How many major decisions do we have to make with $100 million to work with? So we have Pat, Dante Johnson here, James Daniels, Marcus Peters. You know, we have a few important players to make here. A few starters across the offensive line. But in reality, it's mostly our offensive weapons. These two are our big ones. Same with James Daniels, excuse me. So let's get these contracts out of the way. I actually would like to keep all these guys. We don't have to raise this contract too much for him. Pat re-signs on a 5-year, $60 million deal. For Johnson here, we might have to overpay for him, but I would like to keep him. He's a very good wide receiver. He's been a quality player. He needs more money. I'm willing to give it to him. And then for James Daniels, again, we'll give him a long-term contract. We'll run these offensive linemen to the ground. He accepts. So still $70 million. We still have Johnson's contract to work with. But I really do think we have to go after a quarterback in this year's draft class, and that's tough. So let's go see if we have a second half resurgence here. Well, no, we didn't. We went 6-11. We won 4 more games, but 6-11 is not good. Cincinnati went 16-1. Yeah, I think it's time to move off of Kenny Pickett here. We have the roster to win football games, and even if Kenny goes out there and posts it up, 50 touchdowns, I don't think it matters here. Kenny, in my opinion, unfortunately here in Madden, now he's 27 years old. This is his ceiling here. He has solid ratings. He really does. He's not like a bad quarterback, but unfortunately, with a regression system here in Madden, he's just gonna stay at this level. We need to draft a quarterback, and we have a high draft pick to do so. Running game was there, even though Harrison didn't find the end zone too many times. Mike Evans led us in receiving yards. George Pickett and Johnson almost hit 1,000 yards. Overall, our top 4 guys continue to impress me. Just gotta figure something out here. But Evans, as a move, helped out the team. Offensive line, the 2 tackles again struggled. Dan Moore should probably be let go. Just gotta figure something out here. Let's see defense. Grover Stewart led us in tackles for loss, and TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, each over 10 sacks here. Stewart, Jerry Davis, second year, didn't really do much. Quentin Knight, only a sack. Man, our 2 first-round picks have yet to even post 10 sacks combined. And then Jameel Dean, only 3 interceptions. Man, we got a lot of work to do, and we're in year 3. So man, MVP Dak Prescott, Zach Taylor, Coach of the Year, of course. Any Pittsburgh Steelers, and no, we got absolutely none here. Actually, no, we got TJ Watt. So Watt continues to impress, but there's a lot of work here entering into year 3, and there needs to be a change at quarterback, and I think that's where we start. So this year's Super Bowl, it's the Dallas Cowboys versus the Denver Broncos. Wow, so Cincinnati has the number 1 seed, I presume. When do they get knocked out? In the AFC Championship game. Actually, no, they got knocked out in the divisional round. Excuse me, I don't know what the fuck I was looking at. They lost to the Broncos. So it's number 1 seed Cowboys versus the 5th seed Broncos. So see who will win this Super Bowl. We've had a variety of Super Bowls throughout these 3 years, which I'm actually very happy about. But entering into year 3 right now, there's a lot we need to do. We have some upgrades to do. I assume that these are practice squad players, and they are. So what do we do? I mean, I know we need to get a quarterback. That's a definite that we have to do. I don't even know who won the Super Bowl, but you know, right here, right now, nothing changed in terms of development traits, but I think we need to get a quarterback. I think we need to be a little bit more aggressive here in free agency, get an offensive lineman. Defensively, Knight came down as star dev, happy about that. A corner is definite, and I think Highsmith went up to star dev or superstar development. But I think getting another top tier corner is help. I think we've done too much with bringing in 1-year deals with these guys that are clearly not the best. Denver won the Super Bowl, just so Russell gets his second ring. But now entering into the third off season here, we'll check out some retirements. I don't think we'll have too many. If we do, it's going to be to do backup quarterbacks, so who cares? But now we have Johnson's contract that we have to work on. We have close to $100 million to work with. So we have to keep Johnson. I want to keep him. I think for both Peters and Wallace, we let go. We let you go. Dan Moore will let go. So we'll need help across the offensive line, but we'll need help across the offensive line, and we'll need help. We'll make this offer. Offensive line, defensive line, and just overall corner 2. Try to get this fullback out. Come on, Carl. Just come to the team. How much is this franchise? Wait, how much was that franchise? I don't even know. I think it was $4 million. I thought I saw an extra 0. For the rest of these undrafted free agents, we'll let them all go. But we got a lot of work to do here in this third off season, because this is basically the make it or break it year. You know, we have 2 more seasons to go through, and after that, we're kind of fucked. So $82 million to work with. Let's just look at the roster. Let's put together the best or the potential starters. So let's generate the best lineup here. So we need a center, a tackle, a guard. We need a quarterback who will draft probably in the first round. Maybe a backup running back. Maybe that would help out the offense. I think offensive line is what we need. Defensively, we got our 2 young ends, so we're good. We need a corner. We could attempt to upgrade at safety. And I think that's it. So offensive line, corner, and a quarterback. So a lot of work to do. Let's go check out these free agents. Let's try to improve this roster here. And Amani St. Brown's out there. We don't need a wide receiver. We've got Amari Cooper. Is there any quarterbacks? No. No one that can come in here and fix us immediately. So let's check out this offensive line. Let's look at left tackle. Christian Darrisaw would be definitely an upgrade. So Darrisaw should be on my radar. Landon Dickerson here should also be on my radar. So 2 offensive linemen that I am definitely going to be targeting. Defensive line, we don't need to do anything about. Let's check corner. Campbell, Javarius Ward. Ward wouldn't be a bad option, though. He's 29. Campbell's 25. He has room to improve. So I think what we're going to do, we're going to make 3 free agent offers. We're going to go after Christian Darrisaw here. We're going to make a very competitive offer here because we need Darrisaw to come in here and solidify this offensive line. Same with Dickerson here. We have the number 1 bid. For Darrisaw, one other team is fighting for us. We'll give him a 3-year deal. Maybe that will sweeten the deal a little bit. A 3-year, $42 million. So we're going to go after 2 big-time offensive linemen. And then I think we go after Campbell. I think we get another solid corner here. We'll go after 2 big-time corners in this rebuild. So Taysom Campbell. So we'll have 3 offers to start off this evaluation period. You know what? This would fix up the offensive line, as well as this will improve our secondary. So let's evaluate. So we have some more things, but we got Darrisaw. So we got our right tackle or our left tackle. So we got our 2 tackles taken care of. Dickerson, let's just increase these offers here. You know, we have the cap space. You know, we're not going to have to sign a quarterback to a long-term deal in this rebuild. So in reality, we can kind of go out there spending and go free. So let's make this a very competitive offer here for Campbell. I really want him. Dickerson is probably the second more, well, actually I would say Campbell is the most important between these two players. So Campbell, we'll give him a very competitive offer. Let's evaluate again. And we got the 2 offensive linemen, but not Campbell. So now what do we do? Do we go after Travarius Ward? And do we go after Dobbs, Mike Holton, Eric Stokes we could go after? Stokes would be a solid... Actually, we'll go after Stokes here. He's not the highest overall, but in terms of a quality starter, he would be a quality starter for our team. So now, as we're going to enter into this draft, what we need to accomplish is getting a corner, getting a quarterback, and continuing to solidify this offensive line. So let's quickly just see the team one last time. I don't remember the team off the top of my head. So let's generate the best offensive line, or the best team. So actually, we solidify the offensive line. We're good here. We'll put Dobbs probably at center. So the offensive line is complete. The receivers are complete. Quarterback will draft. Defensively, we have our D-line. We got Eric Stokes. We need a third corner. We'll draft that hopefully in the second round. Okay, so we get a quarterback here, and hopefully we're a quarterback away, because in reality, that's kind of what I feel like we are. So entering into our third draft class, we have the 3rd overall pick. Let's view the board here. It's actually the first time I'm looking at this draft class myself. So quarterbacks, that's what we need here. So we have Bobby Bailey here, 5th top 5 talent here, 22 years old. Looks like a solid quarterback, elite throw power. So Bobby here, interesting. Kevin Dawson here, another top 5 talent here, improviser. Let's see his elites. Okay, Dawson is right now my favorite between the 2 quarterbacks, but there's a third. And yeah, Warren's Spice here, yeah, or Spencer here. Yeah, no, he's right now my 3rd, probably my 4th option here. So I think if we can get Kevin here, we have our guy. So we gotta just make it through Tampa Bay and the New York Jets. I don't think the Jets will draft a quarterback. Tampa Bay is the only one that I'm worried about. And they go Bobby. So we're gonna sim past this pick, and they go Kevin Dawson. Okay, so now what the hell do we do? I don't know why the Jets drafted a quarterback. So we got Spencer here, so Morgan Brown, interesting. Let's check out Morgan real quick. 22 years old, strong arm quarterback. You know what? We'll go with Morgan here. I actually kind of like his rating where he's at, and from what I look at in terms of speed and everything, you know, Tim Starks here, he could be a guy. He's 5'11", you know, he could be a solid quarterback. You know, solid throw power. He's the fastest quarterback in the class, if that says anything. I think we go with Morgan Brown. Morgan Brown, you're the new franchise quarterback here at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Normal dev. We can only draft normal dev players, but with 96 throw power. Morgan, please fucking fix this team. Okay, so now we're entering here in the second round here. Corner is the positional group that I would like to hit. I don't know if there's actually a good corner. Jerry Hancock here, maybe. Let's see him. So he has 8 catching, 8 press, B to D man coverage. He's a slot guy, so, you know, not the fastest corner. Jerry Hancock is definitely interesting. Terrence Adams here, 21 years old, more of a zone cover corner. So Adams here, interesting. Man, not really liking either one of those two. But there's a massive drop off. Adams is projected to go in this range here. Let's see if there's anyone here. Yeah, I just don't see it. Maybe maybe we take a chance at a corner again here and see what happens. You know, we could take Doug here. Doug is 22 years old. B to D man coverage, A to C zone coverage, solid speeds all around. I think we just take the chance at the corner. We need to take a chance here on Adam. I just don't know. I mean, Jerry, though, he has, in my opinion, better coverage ratings. So do we take the chance that he would make it to the third round? I don't know. Screw it. Let's just take Adam here. Let's see what we can do. Maybe hidden dev. We get hidden dev. That's huge. That's massive here. So welcome to the team, Travarius Adams. So now here in the third round, what do we want to accomplish? We got a quarterback. We got a corner. We could go after a running back here. We could go after a wide receiver. We could go after actually our offensive line is solidified, defensive line is solidified, linebacker is as well. We could go after Hancock. Hancock made it. Let's go after Hancock. Welcome to the team. Also hidden development. So we got 2 hidden dev corners. Hopefully one of them works out here, and we need one of them to do so, because right here, right now, we are not just lacking at the cornerback position, we've been lacking at it for a while now, and Eric Stokes, as he is a solid corner, he's been like every other corner we've had on this roster. So maybe, who knows? You know, I just hope Morgan is a solid quarterback. 75 overall, okay, that's good. That's a good start. Solid ratings across the board. So Morgan Brown, welcome to the team. You're the new franchise quarterback. Please get us to a Super Bowl. Adams here, 72 overall. Hidden dev, very excited to be here and see what he can do. 77 zone coverage. So that's good to day one. Jerry Hancock here, also hidden dev. Needs a little work, but raw talent will help him out a lot. And then we got Doug here, also hidden dev. So we got a couple hidden dev players. Very happy about that. But the question is, should I trade up in the first round? Kevin Dawson here, hidden dev, and that's unfortunate. Would have really liked him just because of the development trait. But Bobby Bailey here, also hidden dev. So we got we got a good overall quarterback, but you know, in terms of development traits, didn't get hidden, and that's could be the nail of the coffin. Warren here, who I did not like. Well, he's solid. So, man, maybe I'm just messing up with my draft classes. That's all I'm doing apparently. One more quarterback went in the first round. Let's just check him out. Tim Stark here, who I did like, and again, hidden development. So we got the only non-hidden dev quarterback in the first round, but he's the second highest overall. Let's see what he can do here for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And there is one move here in free agency we will be making. J.K. Dobbins is out there as a free agent, and we're going to bring him in here to be our number 2 running back. Okay, entering here in year 4 of this 5-year realistic rebuild. Well, we have a new quarterback, Morgan Brown. He has everything in front of him. He has 2 solid running backs. He has 3 wide receivers. He has a top-tier tight end, and we went out there and fixed this offensive line. There is no reason that this offense can't be great this year. Defensively, well, we have 2 defensive players that we have drafted in the first round in terms of Jerry Davis and Quentin Knight. We brought in Eric Stokes. We drafted 2 hidden development corners. We also drafted a hidden dev safety, which, well, the CPU did. But this defense, they need to play. Here are the specialists for this up and coming season. We're gonna actually make Knight and Davis the 2 rush defensive tackles here. We have hidden dev here at slot wide receiver. We'll see what will happen here in year 4. Can we please make it back to the postseason, please? Well, halfway through year number 4, we're second place of the division. Better than last year. We're 4-3. Kind of in the same spots that we have been throughout this 5-year rebuild. So hey, you know what? Better start than we had last year. That's the only thing that really freaking matters at this moment in time. So hopefully in this second half of this year, we're able to finish out strong and make it to the postseason. But we have $83 million in cap, and we have a lot of important free agents and free agents that we must keep here. And that is TJ Watt, Najee Harris, George Pickens, Stewart we could probably move off of, but these are the big three, and I'm not playing around. I want all three, of course, back to this roster. These are three super important players. So TJ Watt re-signs 3 years, $66 million. Harris here will give him a long-term contract, keeping him for the rest of this franchise. And then finally, for George Pickens here, who has been our starting receiver. He's been mostly playing in the slot for us. Give him this 3-year deal. He does not re-sign, but I'll still offer him another contract. For Stewart, we'll wait on him. He might just be, well, just moving off of. Didn't pick up the 5th-year option for Kenny Pickett. Just not gonna keep him. For the rest of these guys, we'll probably let go. I mean, we could look to trade KJ Dobbins now, but I'm just not gonna do that. For the rest, yeah, so right now, we'll sim to the next week. We'll see where we're sitting. And then work on Pickett's contract, try to keep him. So this is an important week though here in week 8. Can we win? And we do. So that's good. We're 5-3, second place of this division. Looks like we're gonna be a wild card team, best case scenario. Let's rework this contract here, bump up the signing bonus. We'll make it a 3-year, $42 million. Happy to keep him. Okay, we got our big 3 important contracts under control, $40-ish million. Can we make the postseason? Come on, Morgan, take us home. And the Pittsburgh Steelers went 9-8. My goodness, 9-8, barely missing the postseason. We'll do some upgrades here. We'll just auto upgrade all of these players, but 9-8. Wow, how close were we in the AFC? Well, we were the number 8 team. Yep, just one. We lost 3 games in a row to not make the postseason. That is such a nail biter. And now we're entering into year 5 here. No playoff win, 1 divisional title, and 2 losing records. What the hell? We just go all in now. Morgan Brown played very good, solid rookie year. Got him up to a 77 overall. We'll see what he can do here in his second year. Najee Harris, 1,200 yards, 16 touchdowns. Dobbins didn't really play. Evans, 1,300 yards. George Pickett's 1,200 yards. Very impressed with those 2 players, especially George. Happy with his production. The offensive line, 2 tackles struggled. Can't really explain that. Defensively, TJ Watt, 15 sacks, and nothing else behind him. Defensively, man, it's just tough. A below average offense, well, an average offense, and a 6th ranked defense. That's just a tough pill to swallow. MVP, Josh Allen. Doug Peterson, coach of the year. Any Pittsburgh Steelers? Well, Morgan Brown, number 2. That's another tough pill to swallow because we could have drafted Warren. That's just so hard. Adams here, 2nd place. We got the 2 runner-ups. That's not good enough, and that is a hard pill to swallow. TJ Watt, pass rusher of the year, or off-ball, or linebacker of the year, but what do we do now? Entering into year 5, man, we basically just go all in, and we just spend the remaining cap, try to get as many top-tier free agents, and see what we can do here. As in the Super Bowl, it's the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Carolina Panthers. Panthers have won a Super Bowl already in this franchise. and who will win the Super Bowl here in year 4. And it will be the Cincinnati Bengals. So now, what do we do? Let's see any sort of development increase, decreases. Nothing here at quarterback, nothing here on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, Terrell Edmonds got up to star dev. Our 2 hidden dev corners were star. And that's about it. Well, this kid was a superstar. So congratulations to you. A little too late to be on this team, as we're going to enter into the last year of this 5-year realistic rebuild. And now we basically go all in. That's it. That's all I can say. We have the re-sign phase. Let's quickly check out retirements just to see. I don't think we will. And typically they're at the top of this list. I don't see any of us. So we have 15 pending free agents here. And again, $64 million, and I'm not looking to bring back any of these guys. I just think keep the money that we have, and if there's any money that we can save, we're gonna do so, because at this moment in time, we just need to see if free agency will help us the most. So let's check out free agency. We have $64 million. I don't really know what holes we have. There's Bryce Hall, Damian Pierce, Chris Olave, Trent McDuffie, Ezekiel Elliott. You know, there's room to improve this team. So let's go check out the roster real quick and just see where immediately, I mean, corner does come up to in mind right now. We're a 91 overall team, so really what can we do? So let's generate the best lineup here. I mean, offensive line is complete. Offensively, in my opinion, we are complete. Maybe we go after a different running back or another running back, but I don't think so. Defensively, maybe another defensive lineman, corner, safety. I feel like I say corner every year. I don't know. I mean, we shall see. We have $64 million to work with. We might as well spend the money. So let's start here at corner. Trent McDuffie. No one wants him. I want him. Here's a 4-year contract. Come to Pittsburgh. He will be our number 2 corner. We have still $50 million to play with. Strong safety, Kyle Hamilton. It would be an interesting target to bring in. Defensive line. You know, Grover Stewart we could try to bring back. Yeah, sure. Let's try to bring back Grover Stewart. 1 year, $8 million. Come back to the Steelers for one last run. Still have $44 million. Do we just add another wide receiver? Traylon Burks, no. Isaiah Hodges, no. Damian Pierce, maybe we bring in. Ezekiel Elliott, say fuck it. We bring in a quarterback. Hey, Daniel Jones is out there, but let's bring in Daniel. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna bring in any of these guys. Kyle Hamilton would be the only other player that I would probably target here just for an immediate upgrade, because we're trying to win a Super Bowl. We're going all in right now, so try to bring in Hamilton. We have the top bid. It doesn't even tell me. We do. So after safety, where else could we improve? I guess pass rusher. Not seeing anything. Grady Jarrett, we could go after. We still have $34 million, right? Hey, Grady, come in here. Continue to help out our defense, because apparently the 2 guys I drafted in the first round can't get to the quarterback. Maybe you can consistently. We have one more in this phase here. Not going to go after an offensive lineman. Not going to go after a tight end. Could say fuck it and go after a wide receiver. Now we got Wan'Dale Robinson out there. Or we could go after a number 2 running back. Maybe we go after a number 2 running back. Hey, why not? Hey, come in here, Damian Pierce. Why not? Hey, so screw it. We're going all in here. We're going to go after Pierce. We're going after Trent McDuffie. And just because McDuffie's contract is not that high, we're going to make it a very player-friendly contract. Come in here and be our guy. Please. $12 million. Hey, let's evaluate. Let's see if we have any new Pittsburgh Steelers. We got Pierce. We got Trent McDuffie, Kyle Hamilton, Grady Jarrett, and Grover Stewart. Well, we got everyone. We helped out this defense even further, and we got a number 2 running back for this year. Why the hell not? So we have one more season. We have one more draft class to go through. And we're just going to take the best players available. We might draft another quarterback because why the hell not? But hey, we have the best backfield in all of football. We have 3 top-tier wide receivers. We have a great offensive line. Kyle Hamilton and Trent McDuffie solidifies this defense. What more can I do? Well, the last thing I can do is make 3 more draft picks. So let's simulate to the 17th overall pick here and just take the best player available. Let's see what we can add. I have struggled to draft anything. Max Anthony here. He looks like a very promising quarterback. Do we go back-to-back years with quarterbacks? I am really debating about doing that, to be honest with you guys. So if we're not going to go after a quarterback, I'm not going to think about running back. We could go after a wide receiver here. Not really liking any of those top markets. Hudges here, he would be interesting because of all those potential A grades. Maybe a tackle, you know, we try to just refigure this offensive line. Pat Groves, maybe defensively. Let's see that real quick. Not liking Spencer or Parks, excuse me. Seeing anything else, you know? Parker here, we just go 3 out of 5 years going defensive tackle in the first round. Well, you know, Wagner here, he has some A grades, so he would be interesting. You know, Graves here, Terrell Graves would be also a very good player. Let's go with Terrell here. Let's get a corner. Might as well. 21 years old, 6 foot. Yeah, let's go after Terrell here. He has 93 speed, normal depth. And the final thing we're gonna attempt to do here is we're gonna work with this Dallas team. And we are going to try to trade up. We're gonna trade up with our remaining picks here. And again, we're going all in here. Quarterback is our top need. We're gonna send them potentially all 3 of our picks. Where's Dallas? Where the hell are the Cowboys? Okay, here we go. Dallas. Give me the 18th overall pick. Here are our top 3 picks. Nope, you don't like that. Okay. Well, I'm allowed to do this. Kind of throw everything out the window here the last year. So we'll trade up here with the 18th pick. This will be the last pick of this rebuild for me. And I'm going to draft a quarterback. Might as well. We might as well see if he has hidden development. Max Anthony here, 23 years old, has hidden dev, 90 throw power. Hey, why not? We're 5 years into this realistic rebuild, and we have struggled to win the division. We've yet to win a playoff game. This is our last chance. Might as well go all in, and this is the only way we can really improve potentially at the quarterback position. So we make 2 picks for me in this final draft class. Let's go see. People want Dameon Pierce. I'm not trading you guys Pierce. I brought him in here for the shits and giggles. So let's go see. Well, there was apparently a lot of picks. We got a wide receiver. So Terrell here, 74 overall, solid corner, very solid. 77 zone coverage, 93 speed. Very happy with that selection. Max Anthony here, traded up to go get him to see what we can do here. Well, he's not better than the other guy. So Morgan Brown will probably be the starter, and Mike Douglas here, solid slot corner here. So enter into year 5 now. What can we do? That's the question. Can we win the division? Is there any hope for this rebuild? So this is the team for the last year of this rebuild. We got Morgan Brown. We drafted another quarterback just to see if he was right around the same overall. He's not, so we're not going to start Max. But hey, we've put together Brown to have the best chance to win. He has a great offensive line. He has great playmakers around him. We can run the football. We should be able to do stuff on offense, defensively. We went out there, brought back Rover Stewart, brought in Grady Jarrett. We have 2 players we drafted in the first round. We brought in Trent McDuffie and Kyle Hamilton to solidify this secondary. We have a pass rush. We have everything. What more can I do? So, hey, we shall see here in this 5-year realistic rebuild for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Will sim all the way to the postseason. Guys, what did you think about this video? First of all, do you guys like these type of videos? You know, I've been recording now for a little over 2 hours. You know, these videos typically take a long time to put together. I enjoy making them, even though this is my only second video of doing this. I'm still gonna do all 32 teams, but you know, I'm still kind of figuring out how I want to put it all together. I kind of wung this one all together, so we'll see how it goes. You know, I hope you guys do enjoy. Please leave a like, comment down below what you thought, and don't forget to subscribe. But this is the last year. This is live where we're going to be here. We have 1 more week of simulation. Let's see, did we make the postseason? And we didn't. We went 9-8 again. Last place in the Division 2. We lost in week 18. Oh my goodness. How close were we again? You know, Cincinnati didn't make it. Neither did we. Wow. Holy. My goodness. So another 9-8 year. No playoffs. We won the division once, made 1 playoff game, lost it to the New England Patriots. And yeah, I mean, Morgan Brown, okay year, you know, 30 touchdowns, 17 interceptions, almost 5,000. I mean, a good year actually. Harris 1,000 yards, 15 touchdowns. Pierce added 8 touchdowns on the ground. Pickett's 1,400 yards, 11 touchdowns. Evans, everyone played solid. Offensive line actually had probably their best year. Defensively, TJ Watt had a monster year. Nothing else to really satisfy. I mean, what the hell did we just do? Yearly awards, let's go see this. Kevin Lincoln, MVP, no idea who that is. Brian Dable, Coach of the Year. Nothing so far here for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We probably just TJ Watt, and not even TJ Watt. He was the runner-up to Max Crosby. Okay, so what have we learned here? Yeah, we struggled. And we struggled massively here. As we're just gonna look at some career stats. 2 years are Morgan Brown. Solid, good start to his career. Harris, 7,000, almost 8,000 rushing yards, 80 touchdowns basically. Mike Evans, almost 15,000 yards, over 100 touchdowns. Happy with the production for these two who were here for all 5 years. Same with Pat. Defensively, see what we got here. TJ Watt over 100 sacks. Highsmith 40 sacks. I mean, Highsmith was kind of a disappointment here. You know, I think if you look at Highsmith and kind of say, you know, we got him here. You know, he had 1 good year, but it's just so tough. And then you look at our first 2 draft picks that we made. You know, Jerry Davis 14.5 sacks. Quentin Knight 7.5 sacks. I mean, that's a tough pill to swallow. You know, you have Jerry Davis here, who we drafted with the first ever pick in this here. And he turned out to be a fine starter, but as a difference maker, he wasn't a difference maker, and I think that's the problem. In reality, I think the argument can I think what I'm gonna hear in the comments section is, kept Kenny Pickett's too long, and I kind of really did. I give only 2 years to a rookie quarterback like a Morgan Brown, and, you know, 2 productive years, but unfortunately, probably after the first year, we probably should have moved off of Kenny. So let's just sim to the Super Bowl week, see who won the Super Bowl. It's not us. It's the New York Giants versus the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs started off this rebuild with a Super Bowl loss, and can my favorite team win the Super Bowl? Maybe that will be the silver lining in all of this. And they don't. So KC wins the Super Bowl. Great. The New York Giants lost, and so, you know, you guys can sit here and see KC lost. Well, the Panthers won the first Super Bowl. It's then Buffalo, then Denver, then Cincinnati, and then KC. So guys, that is today's video. What do you guys think? You know, I know it's a little bit of a different type of video. It's a lot of simulation. It's a lot of me building up a team. I don't do a ton in terms of like the draft process in these type of videos. So that's the reason I'm kind of taking sometimes flyers on players. In reality, I feel like that just adds a little bit of extra difficulty. But let me know down below what you guys thought of today's action. Please leave a like, comment down below what you thought. There will be more Houston Texans franchise rebuild coming out, as well as there will be more Valorant content coming out in the next couple weeks. If you guys did not know, I do stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/LairBearXD. I stream Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, all at 8:30 Eastern Time. I typically play Valorant, Minecraft, and some other variety games, so you guys are interested in that. Links are down below. There will be more five-year realistic rebuilds throughout these summer and spring months. I am looking to complete all 32 teams, as we've done now the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let me know down below who you want me to do next. And guys, I will see you in the next one.